Welcome students for today's session of object-oriented programming. In the last lecture, we had studied about benefits of object-oriented programming. So we know that there are a lot of benefits of object-oriented programming. Basically, use of class and objects helps in providing real-world entities mapped to the objects. It also provides security, which is a benefit of object-oriented programming. It also helps in basically simplicity in designing the real world problem software for real world problem. So we'll continue further in the next part of the unit 1 of object oriented programming. Then we had also discussed about namespaces, which are used to logically group together variables and methods. Okay, and then we can access them using the namespace. So that was another concept that we saw in the previous lecture. Okay. So now we are going to discuss about fundamentals of object-oriented programming part related to objects. So basically what is an object? That is what we are going to study here. So objects are the basic runtime entities in an object-oriented system. So what are objects? They are the basic runtime entities in an object-oriented system. When a program is executed, the objects interact by sending messages to one another. So basically, whenever program gets executed, the objects interact by sending messages to one another. How are the message sent? Using object.method name and parameters to it. So whenever you call a method of an object, the message passing is done between objects and interaction happens. Objects take up space in the memory. So objects are allocated space in the memory. So whenever you create an object, space is allocated for that object in the memory. When we can create n number of objects belonging to particular class. So to particular class you can create any number of objects or n. So this is an example of how basically you have an object. So suppose there is a class example, opening curly brackets, closing curly brackets and semicolon, and within that the code of the class, maybe variables, methods and whatever it is. We are going to see them later when you see different examples of class. In the main, they have created an object of class example. So how they have done it is that the name of the class example space name of the object obj. So this will create an obj object of class example. So this is how you create an object in C++. So you declare a class, and in the main, using the class name space object name semicolon, you can create an object of a particular class. Now the next concept is what are classes. So class in C++ is the building block that leads to object oriented programming. So class is a building block of object oriented programming. It is a user defined data type which holds its own data members and member functions. So it has its own variables, that is data members, and member functions, that is the methods, which can be accessed and used by creating an instance of that class. So these variables and methods can be used by creating an instance of the class, that is an object. Okay, so from a class you can create an object, and class is basically the class will be the one who contains the declaration of the variables and the methods whose instance is an object. A C++ class is like a blueprint for an object. So the C++ class is like a blueprint for an object. Okay, it contains all the variables and method related information of that particular class. So basically, what is the syntax structure of a particular class? So for declaring a class, what you have to do is that you have to use the keyword class, the name of the class, that is class name. It is a user defined name, opening curly brackets, closing curly brackets and semicolon. Within that you have to give the access specifier. It can be private, public or protected. So access specifier can be private, public or protected. Then you give the data members. So if you say private colon, the data members will be of type access private. Okay, so private access specifier, when it is used, it means that variables cannot be used outside the class. If it is protected, it can be only used in the derived classes, inherited classes. And if it is public, it can be used in the outside world. So we'll discuss those when we see the access specifiers. The data members are the variables in the class. Then you have member functions. These are the methods declared within the class. Okay. And finally, when the class closing curly brackets are given, you have to give a semicolon. So class name ends with a semicolon. Okay. So this is the basic structure of how a class is given. So all the real world entities can be mapped into classes. So in the real world, whatever the real world entities are there, for them the classes are made in the C++. Okay. Then the next fundamental of object-oriented programming are data members. So what is a data member is that data members include members that are declared with any of the fundamental types as well as other types, including pointer, reference, array types, bit fields, and user-defined types. So data members are the variables within the class. So they can be declared as fundamental types or any other user-defined types, including they can have pointer, reference, array types, bit fields, and other user-defined types. Okay, so these are the different data members that are present in the class. So they are basically the variables of the class. So they have shown how basically data members and member functions declared within the class. So suppose there is a part of the program that has been shown as an example with the class name student. So how will you declare the class student? Keyword class, name of the class student, opening curly brackets, closing curly brackets. Within that access specifier private, and it has two data members, that is variables id int type and variable name of character array. So these are the two data members of the class student, and there are two methods. Public access specifier void get data is one method and void display is another method. So this is how basically within the class the data members and member functions are given. So in this particular example, you have two variables and two functions in this particular class student. Variables are having the access specifier private, so they will not be accessible to the outside world. So this is providing security, that is data hiding in this particular example. Whereas methods are being given public, so they can be accessed from the outside world. Okay, so this is how a particular class can be declared with data members and member functions. Now speaking about the methods, methods are functions that belongs to the class. So what are methods? They are the functions that belong to the class. So in the previous example, the methods are get data and display. They are the methods in the class, and data members are id and name. So methods are functions that belong to the class. There are two ways to define functions that belong to a class: inside class definition and outside class definition. There are two ways how you can define functions or methods in a class. They can be inside class definition and outside class definition. So again, we are showing an example of inside class definition. So in case of inside class definition, the code of the method is given within the class. So class example, access specifier public, void add, opening curly brackets, closing curly brackets, and within that the code of the method add. It is given within the class example. So this is the inside class definition of a method. Okay, and how you access a method? In the main, you create an object of the class. So class name is example. So example space object name obj. So it will create an object of class example. and you access that method using object name dot method name. So obj dot method name add and opening round bracket and closing round bracket. So this is how add method will be executed in this program. Okay, so this is the inside class definition for the method add. Now we are going to see outside class definition. So here what happens is that the method add code of the method has been given outside the class. Only the method gets declared within the class with class example access specifier public declaration of the particular method void add. Okay, and there will be a semicolon that has not been put here. So remember there will be semicolon for the declaration, and it has been defined outside the class void example colon scope resolution operator and method name add opening curly brackets closing curly brackets within that the code of the method add. So this is outside class definition for the method add. Okay, so the add is part of the class example, but the code of the add method has been given outside the class. So that's why it is called as a outside class definition. To access the method is the same as inside class definition. So name of the class example creating an object obj of it object dot add name of the method is the same way as you call the inside class definition method, same way you call the outside class definition method. Only difference is where is the code given of the method definition. It is given outside the class. So inside the class only the method declaration is done, and outside the class the method definition or the code of the method is given outside the class. So next concept is about messages. What are messages basically? So objects communicate with one another by sending and receiving information to each other. So objects communicate with each other using messages. They send information to each other. A message for an object is a request for execution of a procedure. So what is a message? It is a request for execution of a procedure. So whenever you say object dot method name, it is a message basically. Okay, and therefore we invoke a function in the receiving object that generates the desired results. So the method of the receiving object will execute and will generate the results of execution. So example of a message will be employee class object, that is employee object dot method name and passing information to it as a parameter to the method call. So object dot method name and parameter to the method call. So this is how messages are given in object oriented programming. So object name dot method name and in brackets the parameters to the method call. This is how messages are communicated between objects for execution of that particular method. Okay. The next concept is data encapsulation. So what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is an object-oriented programming concept that binds together the data and functions that manipulate the data and that keeps both safe from outside interference and misuse. So what is basically encapsulation? The methods and variables are bound together in one class that is called as data encapsulation. So methods and variables are put in one particular class and they're bound together to each other. That is called as data encapsulation. Okay. So using that you can have security provided to the data and the methods. Okay. And it becomes easy to use them also. Okay. So these are some of the fundamentals of object oriented programming. We'll continue them in the next video lecture. Thank you for attending this video lecture.